This is unprecedented, and I talked to other folks that have been doing it for a lot longer than I have, and it's the same thing. We can't even explain the devastation that this community is going through.
Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Lisa Gonzalez. We continue to follow breaking news surrounding the devastating and deadly wildfires in Los Angeles County. Right now, the death toll stands at 10 people killed. Officials say that number will likely go up. As of this morning, officials say more than 319,000 people are under evacuation orders or warnings. At least 10,000 structures have been damaged for both the Eaton and Palisades fires in Southern California, Los Angeles County, and more than 57,000 more are at risk right now. The Palisades fire remains the biggest fire that crews are battling. It's burned more than 20,000 acres. Containment is now up to 6%. Take a look at this video of some of the damage in Pacific Palisades and Malibu. The Eaton fire in Altadena has burned more than 13,000 acres, but still no containment on that one. In response to these fires, President Biden has authorized a surge in federal resources, saying that he'll send federal firefighters and equipment to help put out these fires the best we can. And now let's take a live look over the fires right now. This is in the Granada Hills area where firefighters are fighting a small brush fire. This fire is being called the Archer Fire. It's small. It's only burning about 2 to 3 acres at this time. But again, with the winds, things can change quickly. And as they're panning over, that's another larger fire that we've been following. But you can see how close together those are getting and how close it is to entire neighborhoods. Look at all those neighborhoods down on the ground and a burn scar there. And you can see retardant where they were able to stop the flames there. Now, during a briefing this morning, Los Angeles County fire officials expressed hope that more typical Santa Ana winds are expected today, that they will help them gain more containment on the fires.
We're going to continue to see typical moderate Santa Ana winds, nothing like we saw at the beginning of this fire. That was unprecedented. We've never seen anything like that. We'll see gusts between 30 and 40 miles per hour, but nothing compared to what we saw. And hopefully those forecasts will change into more favorable conditions for us.
Focusing now on the Eaton fire, which is still burning near Altadena, but crews have been able to get a bit of containment on that fire. Gina Kim joins us live now from Altadena with a look at some of the aftermath in that area. Gina, what are you seeing firsthand?
Hi there, Lisa. It is absolutely apocalyptic out here. I know that is a term that a lot of people have been using, and a lot of superlatives are being used every single day here as we head into and are midday through Day 4 of the Southern California wildfires. Where I am is the heart of Altadena, and behind me is a gas station that was family owned for generations. And we talked to the owner earlier today, and he wants to rebuild. He was talking with Chevron just about an hour ago, and he told us that there's still thousands of gallons of fuel underneath. So a very, very difficult situation. And then if you want to pan over to that apartment building right behind the Chevron, you know, this is just an example of the eclectic nature of this fire. This gas station burns down to a crisp, and the apartment building right behind it still standing. But we are at 56 square miles that have burned so far in Southern California. By comparison, the entire city of San Francisco is 49 square miles, even more staggering numbers. As you mentioned, there are some 10,000 structures. These are homes and businesses that have burned so far. That is just an estimate based on aerial surveillance. Once they actually get on the ground and are able to do more in-depth assessments, those numbers could grow. The 10 dead, as you mentioned, that is also just an estimate. Once they go from house to house, that number is likely to grow. And we are expected to have even more Santa Ana wind conditions next week.
Yeah, and that's a troubling thought, considering we just saw another little fire pop up. Gina, so many things have happened this week in terms of evacuations, people trying to get out of the path of danger. We've also heard that companies like Airbnb are offering, free stays for people. What have you seen, in your opinion, of people evacuating and people trying to find new places to live? Because it looks like, ghost town behind you. Where is everybody? How's that going?
Oh Well, you know, all the hotels in the area are completely booked up. People are scrambling to stay with family and try to find Airbnbs and rentals for the long term, the people that have lost their homes. I have a good friend who is a lead trumpeter for the Los Angeles Philharmonic. He and his wife and 2 children are out of their home. They lived right here in Altadena, and he has nowhere to go. And you're looking at somebody who was under, you know, evacuation warning just about less than 24 hours ago myself. And so it's very touch and go here. Everyone here is impacted one way or another. Never mind the sporting events, the theater events, all of the events that a city the size of Los Angeles hosts every single hour of the day. All of those are on hold, as are we during this week.
Well, and now the shock is kind of, you know, worn off from what's happening. What would you say are the emotions that, you know, the residents there are feeling as you talk to people?
Well, I would say that because so many schools are canceled, a lot of parents are just scrambling. What did they do with their children? What do they do with work? So there's a lot of panic. We also had a situation yesterday where everybody who wasn't in the fire zone were getting evacuation orders. And so that caused a lot of panic and alarm. People were like, oh my God, I need to evacuate, but I don't see any fire around me. And today, Los Angeles apologized for all those misfires and said that they have no control over it. It was not human generated. It was a technical glitch. So there's a lot of kind of jump scares and jump starts, but a lot of people, we've seen this all before, maybe not to this extent. And so we're a little bit used to something like this, which is in and of itself a little bit of a sad commentary, isn't it, Lisa?
It really is. And, you know, as a lifelong Californian, I could relate with that. You know, we have our share of fires here in Northern California. We're also just looking at video of not just homes burned down, but the Berkshire Hathaway office looks like it was also destroyed.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I know you guys are no strangers to that up in Northern California. I've covered fires up there in Northern California that seemed just as devastating. But Lisa, this fire is on track to become the costliest wildfire disaster in the nation because the losses are estimated to top $50 billion. All
right, and that's just the latest estimate. Gina Kim, thanks for the live report and all of your insight of being a longtime journalist there in Southern California. We appreciate your time. Stay safe out there. Meantime, the National Guard is in Altadena now, where Gina is, after the Eaton fire devastated block after block, as we've been showing you there. They're trying to prevent looting. They're also checking driver's licenses as residents are trying to return home, as you heard Gina mention that. Officials also announcing a curfew is now in place from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to prevent looting. Now taking a live look at the Los Angeles County region as it continues to deal with these fires, and this is Mount Wilson, where we saw flames come dangerously close to this observatory that you can see there on the left there, and still seeing a lot of smoke. Firefighters were there on the ground just spraying literally those flames back the best they could. Brian Hickey is taking a look at the conditions that firefighters are up against. At least we're not seeing the winds that we saw at this time yesterday.
Yeah, and you can see it just in the smoke kind of hanging in that area as opposed to being blown across horizontally across the landscape there. And you can see from the satellite image here, some of that smoke also being blown offshore right now. That, of course, is a north wind that's coming through the area, so that is a dry wind, but at least it's pushing some of that smoke out of there, clearing that area up so that air tankers can get in there and do some of that work and at least give some folks there a little break for air quality in that area. Now let's take a look as we fast forward here. These are the locations of the fires, and you can see here the Palisades fire still showing up on the infrared detection from satellite. So that tells you of all of these incidents, that is the most active, where we're still getting some pretty good signatures on the satellite there of that incident. And this is what we're looking at in terms of gusts. As we head on into the weekend, look at the way the flow is shifting. This is going to be going offshore, but then as we get into Sunday, while we're still looking at some gusty winds, it's going to be an onshore breeze, and so that's going to bring with it some higher humidity and will hopefully calm some of that fire down. But wind, of course, the other driving factor there that firefighters are going to be dealing with through the weekend. They will get a bit of a break going into tomorrow, but then by Sunday, as you can see here, it starts to ramp back up within places like Malibu. Could see gusts up to 46 miles per hour, Lisa.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, they've had a little bit of a break, but even still, 46-mile-per-hour gusts, that's not going to be good. As this fire continues to burn, California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara is issuing a one-year moratorium on insurance non-renewals and cancellations. He's also calling on insurance companies to stop any pending non-renewals. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
I call upon all property insurance companies to pause these non-renewals and cancellations and provide essential stability for our communities, allowing consumers to focus on what's important at the moment, their safety and recovery.
Now, Laura also says that he wants insurance companies to extend late payments. Those who don't have insurance and are impacted by the fire should call the insurance commissioner's office. That number is there on your screen. We're going to continue to follow developments in the Southern California wildfires, both on air and on the KCRA3 app, and make sure you enable the push alerts.